Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title starts right now. Here's your host, Bill Napick.
Welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Napick. That's right. Again, another radio adventure. We have a tremendous show, as always, right here today. We're back in the studio. So, whether you're listening right here in Houston, you might be in Dana Point, California, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the Woodlands, Houston, Texas, wherever. We've assembled tremendous guests, as always. And today we're going to talk about, our first topic is going to be 1031 exchanges. So, if you're an investor out there, you may have heard the term 1031 exchange. You may be very familiar, or you may not be. And our first guest is right here. She is with Asset Preservation Incorporated. Her name is Cindy Pham. Cindy, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
Indeed. And let's tell people, it was exciting to meet you at a Stewart event not that long ago, and to learn that you are kind of part of our family and an expert on 1031 exchanges. So let's tell people, first of all, a little bit about your company.
All right, so Asset Preservation, we are a qualified intermediary for 1031 exchanges. We have been around since 1990, and that's when our company started. We are headquarters in California, and Stewart Title bought us in 1993. So we are a subsidiary of Stewart Title. We're a part of your family.
And in our brand new corporate office, so you're in the same building, and I was there the other day. It is super awesome over there.
Yes, I office in the corporate office just because I'm here in Houston, Texas.
There you go. So let's tell people, if they don't know what a 1031 exchange is, let's tell them.
1031 exchanges, it comes from the tax code, Internal Revenue Code, Section 1031. It allows the investor to defer their capital gains taxes when they sell their investment property or property of business, and they will buy a different property, so they get to defer their capital gains taxes if they reinvest in another property.
I like that number, 1031. So it's actually the actual code number.
It is it's the code number.
And for those, and I'm not a CPA, but I know when I go to my CPA, all the different paperworks and all the that they have and all the numbers, there's a code for everything, isn't there?
There's a lot of numbers.
And as always, it's important to know, especially as investors or just regular people, to know how the IRS works and some of the things that are advantages for us. And it sounds to me, if I'm an investor, this 1031 is a good thing.
It is an amazing tool for investors to defer their capital gains. Instead of paying your taxes, you're rolling over your tax amount to the next property. So you got more buying power. So you're not just deferring your taxes, you've got more buying power in your next property.
Indeed. Using your money wisely sounds good to me. So it sounds like, let's say, a lot of people, and I ran into someone just yesterday that's thinking about, she's buying a new home, and she goes, I said, well, what are you going to do with your old home? She said, I think I'm going to rent it out. So right there, in its simplest form, if she does that, this person will become an investor, renting the property out. And let's just take a scenario here and tell us about how it works with the 1031. So let's say this person, A, takes her property, rents it out for 2 years, just as a good number, rents it out 2 years, and then sells it and makes a profit.
Okay.
So here comes the possibility of using this tax code 1031, right?
So in that situation, well, first of all, we always advise the client, the investor, to seek advice from their tax advisor and their legal advisor, because we don't give any type of legal or tax advice. We just basically facilitate the exchange. However, in that situation, it depends on how long they've owned the home, how long they've lived in the home, how long they've leased out the home. There's two codes that they could possibly use. A portion would be a 1031 exchange, and then another fraction they'll be using another tax code for a homestead exemption.
So a lot of great benefits there, should someone use them and know how to use them. And as you say, we also recommend consult your tax attorney on all these complexities. However, the 1031 sounds like it is there for us. So this person, again, this example, she makes a profit, and let's say she wants to have another investment property, and she takes, what length of time does she have to protect that profit?
So your exchange period is going to be 180 days. You have once the day that you sell your investment property, you have 180 days to reinvest, close on your replacement property. However, within that 180 days, the first 45 days are your identification period. you have to identify the properties that you want to do the exchange for. If you cannot do an exchange with property you don't identify in that 45-day time period.
So if somehow we miss that 45-day period, we just end up paying taxes on our gain.
Correct. The money is released on the 181st day, and you pay taxes on your gain.
And it also sounds like we're assuming that every time someone sells a property, they make a profit. I know firsthand that doesn't always happen. Unfortunately, it didn't happen to me on at least 2 of my real estate purchases. So in that case, let's just cover that for those listening. And that is, I have a rental property, I sell it in 2 years, and I don't make a profit. So I don't need to worry about the 1031 in this case. So it's a tool for when we do make a profit.
It's something they would speak to their tax advisor about offsetting other
There's
income.
other things that may help there, apparently. So again, tell us a little bit more about your company, Asset Preservation. You are all over the United States, right?
Yeah, we've got division managers all over the U.S. We have our corporate in California. I'm here locally in Houston. We have got another regional office in New York. So we facilitate
coast to
coast, and we've done over 180,000 exchanges. And we're experts. As far as we have different teams, commercial teams. We've got the delay team. We do quite a bit of reverse exchanges. That's in the case where you buy your replacement property first and then sell your existing property later. So we do the simplest to the most complex exchanges.
Let's say that one again, where we buy the property first. Is that, and explain that if you would. Does that mean that if we buy that second property, we could still use the 1031 exchange, or it sounds like we're preparing a little bit better in that case. Am I?
Yeah, well,
no?
In a reverse exchange, that means you see a property that you just have to buy. The seller is going to make you buy it before you sell your existing property. So you're just buying that property first. So we take title to that property. We buy that, and then you have 180 days to sell your existing property.
I think
it's a lot of planning.
That's a lot of planning, but again, in business, to be successful, I think planning is everything. In life, I think planning is everything. Be prepared.
We're not winging it.
No, we don't want to wing it. In fact, that is the motto of the U.S. Coast Guard. It is Semper Paratus, always ready, be prepared. Did you know that?
No.
There you go. If anybody is in the Coast Guard, they know it because that is their motto. So let's tell people. Also, right now from the marketplace, the kind of activity, there's so many indicators, homes that are sold, investment properties. How is the market right now in this Houston area? And you're the division manager for this company.
Well, Texas in general, we have a strong market. We call this the perfect storm. So, right now, taxes had increased over the years. And so, but also real estate, commercially and residentially, it's been stronger. And so it's been steady growth. So if you've held property for so many years, some owners are afraid to sell because you have to pay so many taxes. And so they seek the 1031 exchange as their way to defer their taxes. So we've done, it's our perfect storm right now.
And if you were to say the people that are out there that should be most interested or should know the most about your company, I guess the example I gave, an investor with just one home, but who else should know about what you're doing there at Asset Preservation Incorporated?
Well, as far as all investors, investing in properties, brokers, anyone that has clients that will invest, because it's a win-win tool. If you're a broker, you're a realtor, you're doing your clients a favor. If your clients are not familiar with the 1031 exchange, you become the hero, because not only are you saving them on, their taxes right now, you're also helping them seek other deals.
In fact, and also as real estate professionals listen to this show, and there are some in this room, sometimes they're helping their clients buy and sell properties. They forget there's so many things they have to know and remember and bring forth. Sometimes they forget, especially those that are in the investment part, about the 1031 exchange. That's why we're here today, to share that knowledge and to help people all the time. It's
a lot of information. I'm always here to help everyone out there.
And Cindy, let's tell people how they can reach out to your company.
My number is toll-free number 833-331-1031.
No, look at that.
Yes.
So if you see Cindy
That's my direct office line.
You may see her driving around. I bet your license plate, 1031, no?
I've got my kids' names on my license plate, their middle names.
All
but
right. 1031. Then
I
I'm
should
going to
put a
get
sticker. I made a bumper sticker.
that is a nice plate. And the website is, if they want to go to the website,
It's API Exchange, EXCHANGE.com. APIexchange.com.
And the number again is
833-331-1031.
There she is, Cindy Pham, Division Manager, Asset Preservation, right there on Post Oak, the center of the Houston universe. We're going to come right back with even more. Stay with us. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you so much.
Here we go. And now a real live real estate professional. He is Darren Morris with Compass. He is a broker associate right here in Houston, Texas at 2925 Richmond Avenue. Same place at Stewart Title, Kirby Grove.
Right. That's exactly right.
That is awesome.
Same building.
Don't you love that building?
It is great. Has that Levee Park right in front of it.
And
it's
you're
beautiful.
You're on the 12th floor,
We're
right?
on the 12th floor.
Super views.
Super views. Absolutely.
Well, let's tell people, Darren, here we are. First of all, your company, Compass. We're hearing so much about Compass more than ever before this last year or so. Let's tell people, in case they might be listening from afar, let's tell them about your company first.
Well, Compass is brand new to Houston. We started in November. It's a real estate technology company that has been fortunate enough to raise a tremendous amount of capital to bring together the brightest minds in real estate, tech, and marketing. We are able to help our agents with selling houses quicker and for more money on the market.
And you mentioned the word technology. I mean, the technology is ever changing. I mean, you can go back to 10 years ago and people were talking about how it changed in those last 10 years. But here we are where it's rapidly changing all the time. And
Yes.
Everybody in every profession has to stay on top of those things. Give us an idea of what you're doing there at Compass or what the company is doing from that technology standpoint. Now, how can you sell it quicker? I have to ask you that because you said quicker.
Yeah. So Compass has hired pretty much the top cream of the crop agents and technology gurus from Google, Facebook, Amazon, and they've all came together, and we're building an end-to-end platform so that agents can sell homes quicker. We have a great back-end marketing, so we have our own advertising agency right in our Houston office. So if there's any local advertising that I need to have done on a specific property, all I have to do is go straight through them, and they create some beautiful marketing for me.
Is that in the same building you're in?
It is.
How about that?
Yeah,
Well, I
they're
didn't
right
know
there.
All that stuff's going on right there. Incredible.
Yeah. It was amazing to me the first time I walked into the Compass office, and I went back and looked at the support staff in a different area of the office, and they're all millennials. They're all in their 20s and 30s, and they are all on top of all of the technology that we need as agents these days. So if I ever need any help with any of that, they're right there 24 hours a day.
Well,
It's
that's
great.
super. And that's one of the ways you're able to help your buyers and sellers, I think,
Exactly.
in a more expedient way.
They make my job a lot easier and a lot more efficient, and I can spend more time with my clients that way, and it just makes me look like a better agent.
There you are.
Yep.
And as a real estate professional, it is so important to have all those right tools ready, handy, and know when to deploy each and every one.
Especially these days. Yes.
It's pretty
absolutely.
competitive out there.
It is.
Let's tell people how you approach your profession. Do you do it by geography? Certainly, we're talking about the Richmond, Kirby Grove area. That's super hot and right there inside the
Right.
loop. How do you approach your profession?
I am fortunate enough to be on the Haley Garcia group, which Haley Garcia is based up in the Woodlands, and we are expanding down into Houston. And what that basically gives us is a full Houston area of agents that we can use. We have the whole Houston area covered. Personally, I am an interlooper, is what they call us. And so I like to spend most of my time in the Heights and anywhere in the Galleria area downtown, just to stay a little bit closer. But we can help anybody all over Houston.
And it seems like when we think about areas that have such a great resale value, the Heights comes to mind, River Oaks comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a word about the Heights, what's happening there right now. And the other question on top of that is that how much do you need to buy just something that's kind of nice in the Heights?
Yeah.
Let's start there.
The Heights is in the last 4 or 5 years has really exploded with a whole bunch more commercial. We've got a lot of new restaurants. It's just becoming a hot spot in Houston. And it is a little bit harder than it has been in the past to get into the Heights for, less than $500,000 or so. However, there are some good townhomes and some good condos there that we could get you into for that. Now, new construction, it really depends if you want a backyard. The Heights is premium for a backyard, and the bigger your backyard is, the more you're going to spend on the home. There are some expansion areas. If you go north of 610, it's called Independence Heights, and that's going to become probably the next hot spot as well. So you can move into a little bit further north into Independence Heights and get in there about $400,000 to $500,000.
So that's right before 610
It's north of 610.
Oh, it's north of 610.
Yep. There's a brand new Whole Foods right there on Yale and 610.
How about that?
Yep. And so it's already starting.
And you said, I was thinking about, I have 2 dogs. Now, I live as far west in Houston as you can without being called Katie. But
Sure.
with 2 dogs and other people that have pets, 1 dog, 2, whatever,
Yep.
it's kind of nice to even have some kind of backyard. So let's say someone
Absolutely.
has a pet or 2 and wants to go into the Heights, 700,000?
Yeah.
You
We
can
could
find a
definitely
little-
find a $700,000 home. In fact, I've got some new construction being built on West 26th that will have a backyard, and they're right at the 750 mark. So brand new house.
That is not
Yes.
bad right there.
I know.
bet there's
4
people
bedrooms and
and a little bit of grass in the back.
a little bit of grass in the backyard.
That's super
Call
awesome.
me. I'll set you up.
Call him. He is Darren Morris, broker associate, right there at Compass.
That's right.
By the way, on that note, let's tell him your number right now.
All right. It's 281-788-2402.
281-788-2402. Darren Morris. In the meantime, Darren, let's also talk about some of the other areas. We've talked about the Heights. What are some of the other ones that in the activity that you're around every day?
Well, I specifically love the 3rd Ward over, that's a little east of downtown. I recently bought...
Still inside the loop.
It
for
is.
people listening outside of Houston.
It is. It's 1.5 miles away from downtown. And it is really, really, I think, one of the hot spots for investment opportunities right now. I moved over there last year and renovated a 1935 house. And so I love it. I've got a backyard. There's a hike and bike trail right behind my house. I know it's going to be the next hot spot. So I'm real happy. I'm real excited about that. And anywhere really east of downtown, we're seeing a hotbed of activity over there.
Or to give an idea, now I don't know if everybody knows, but I know. Let's take the Four Seasons Hotel, right?
Yes.
Is it Four Seasons? All right, so if you were to use that as a landmark, how far east from the Four Seasons is this area you're talking about?
It is right next to downtown. I mean, we're talking maybe a mile.
And that's
to
where you
2
have this home that
miles.
was built in the 30s?
In the 30s, yes. We totally renovated it. We love it. It's beautiful. We have a really nice backyard. Our neighbors are awesome. It's just really, really, I think it's a secret in town that hasn't gotten out yet, but it's starting to happen.
And what are we calling that area again?
3rd Ward.
3rd Ward, so you can get homes, renovate them. What if you want new construction? Is there new construction over there?
There is new construction. In fact, if those houses are too gone to renovate, and there are some over there, they are knocking them down and building new homes. And those are the ones you can find really good deals on.
And they could find a good deal if they call you.
They sure could.
At 281. Go ahead.
788-2402.
That's fascinating. I'm excited because that is an area I've explored. Sometimes when I'm not doing this radio show, I'm out there exploring different areas of Houston to learn about them and also to see what's going on because we are in, well, the 4th largest city. People are saying it's the 3rd, and stuff's happening all the time.
Oh, it's
incredible.
exciting.
What is the role of interest rates on your activity right now? I mean, have they ever been lower? It's ridiculous.
That's a
and
good
it's
point.
awesome.
And I was just talking about this with my go-to mortgage broker this morning, and they are super low. And we've got lots of inventory on the market, and with this little shake that we're having in the markets today, this is a perfect time to be a buyer. There's a lot
Or investor.
or an investor
When we think about
is
that.
perfect time to buy real estate. I mean, since I've been doing real estate, which has only been a few years, but this is the best time to be a buyer in Houston, Texas right now.
It really is incredible. And I would ask two questions. One, out of 10 transactions, just take the last 10 at random, how many were cash deals? And this is probably a time where people that have tons of cash want to pay cash, but they're like, boy, the rates are so low.
Yeah. Well, there has been a ton of people sitting on the sidelines with cash, waiting for this to happen, right? For the market to have a little soft spot, and we're getting to a soft spot, and I feel like we're going to have a really big influence of buyers in the fall. This fall, I think we're going to be really, really busy.
It's going to be fun.
Interest rates are low. The house market is having a little bit of a slowdown, so this is a perfect time to buy a house.
By the way, your house, do you have a yard?
I do.
Do you have a pet?
I have 2 dogs.
Really?
Yeah.
They're probably listening to the show right now.
Belle and Ruby, yep. Pomeranian and a Corgi. So
Super
they're
awesome.
listening, yeah.
And before we close
Shout out to my dogs.
Yeah. What else would you like people to know before we close this segment?
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much for having me on. This is first time I've been on the radio since in my college days I was a DJ, so I'm coming up here looking forward to being on the radio again. So I appreciate it.
Well, it's awesome to have you. Give him a call. Darren Morris at 281-788-2402. Stay with us. So much more is ahead. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
And here we go. And now we've already talked a little bit about money, but now we have a money expert. He is with First United Mortgage Group, Craig Levine. He says spend life wisely. Craig, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on today.
It's awesome to see you here, and it's even going to be better to talk a little bit about money, everybody's favorite subject, especially as we've already mentioned, boy, the interest rates are so darn low.
They are absolutely fantastic. We were actually at a 3-year low. Last time they were this low was 2016.
It is phenomenal. First of all, we'll talk about some of the loans and things that you want to talk about today. But first, let's tell people a little bit about First United Mortgage.
Yeah, thank you. You know, we're a smaller bank based in Oklahoma. Our mortgage division is out of Dallas. But believe it or not, we are the 9th largest production mortgage company out of Texas based on just dollar amount volume, and which is amazing because we're a smaller bank. How did we become number 9? We became number 9 because we have a lot of niche products, a lot of construction, renovation, low down payment, jumbo loans. That's really our bread and butter.
And what's interesting, when people are buying, families and individuals are buying homes, they think about the loan for that given home. But there's so many kinds of loans for individuals and families, but there's also different kinds of loans, like you're going to talk about construction loans, renovation loans, right?
That's absolutely right. So you were recently talking to Darren about the Heights. So there are much older homes in the Heights that people want to get into. But the price isn't right. You want a brand new house. Some of those brand new houses are $1.3 million. Brand new.
That's right.
Some of them are pretty old and need a lot of work. We can help out in 2 ways. Somebody can buy a house and finance the purchase and the remodeling in one loan. We'll do a 15% down payment up to $1.5, which is actually phenomenal. 10% down up to $650,000, which is great as well. Or they can knock down and they could buy new, and we can do that as well, where they're buying the lot and then they're going to finance the construction as well.
Okay, so let's take a home that someone looks at and it is in a desirable location, but it needs renovation.
Absolutely.
And they're going to get a loan anyway because the rates are so low.
Correct.
So they're going to get a loan, and they want to weave in the idea of the cost of renovation.
Right.
So if they do that, how does that work? How do they let you know? They're with their realtor driving around. They say, oh, wow, we really like this home. However, we're going to have to do a lot of work. We better call Craig at First United Mortgage Corporation. He can guide us through this. So how do you begin that guidance, let's say?
Right. So what we'll say is, go find the house you'd like to purchase, and then you need to get a contractor to walk you through the house and give you some bids on how much it's going to cost. You would then come back to us and say, for example, hi, I would like to buy this house. It needs some updating. The house is worth, let's say, $500. Renovations might cost $300. So that would be a total of $800,000, for example. And we can finance you up to 85% of that $800,000 in a one-time close fashion. Fixed rate or adjustable rate, rates locked up front, and you do it one time.
That sounds pretty good.
It's amazing.
And it's very convenient as well.
Absolutely. So one time. So you're getting your credit check pulled once, you're applying once, you're only closing once, one round of closing costs. The rates are not increased over a different type of loan. They're still equally as good as a normal 30-year fixed rate would be.
And you mentioned, as we mentioned already, the part of town here in Houston, the Heights. For those listening far away that never heard of the Heights, it's kind of in the center of the city, and it's a super location to access, especially
Correct.
downtown and so many areas. But are there areas of town where these renovation loans are more popular, like I guess the Heights is, but are there others?
Yeah, absolutely. Any older neighborhood is fantastic, but also, unfortunately, Harvey, 200,000 people flooded. So some people didn't have flood insurance. They can use these loans to fix up their house. Or if somebody wants to purchase what was a flooded house to live in, they can buy a house that's been remediated but not fixed up, get the renovation loan to fix up the house. So again, they can buy it's actually a great deal. Let's just use Meyerland, for example, because I live there. You can pick up a lot today pretty cheap, between $250,000 and $350,000 for that area, and say borrow an additional $200,000 or $300,000 to fix it up. And you have a great house now in a great location for $500,000 or $600,000. And we can do those with only 10% down.
And that sounds good. And once again, going back to a little bit of what we talked about at the very beginning of this show, planning. It sounds like with this type of purchase, a little bit more planning is involved.
Correct.
And you have to be strategic as that couple or as that individual that's buying these or looking at these various properties.
Absolutely. It's a great way to buy a house at a discount or to fix it up to make it what you want it to be in the future. But you do have to go in knowing that you're going to do that.
And when you say that, I guess I'm going right to the idea of all the TV shows and visual things that we see about homes and the things people, I think, anymore want things a certain way. And these are great opportunities to individualize a home and bring in the features that
Absolutely.
you've seen wherever and just make them happen.
It's a great way to take a 1950s or 60s or even a 1930s house and make it modern based on today's standards without opening up your checkbook and paying cash for all those renovations.
That sounds pretty good. So, business-wise right now, how do you see the market?
The market is amazing. Rates, again, are at a 3-year low.
It's incredible.
Somebody was looking at a house, let's say it's a little bit more of an expensive house. Just last year, the 30-year fix was in the high 4s at this time. Right now, the 30-year fix is in the high 3s. That 1 point difference could be the difference of you, same payment, but you could buy a house a couple $100,000 more expensive and pay the same.
That's incredible. And I guess the only downside of this, when the rate moves up, if and when it does, like a half a point, people are like, oh my goodness, it's getting so high, but it really isn't.
I started in 2004. When I started in the business, rates were 8%. And so it's really funny today when you speak to some people and you say, oh, the rate's 4%. And they say, well, that's too high. I mean, 4% is an amazing rate, right?
That's incredible. And I will say to people that we talked about Kirby Grove, Stewart Title, we have a location right there. Thanks to Christina Sacco, it sounded like she went up and down the elevator to get guests like you. You're in the same building as Stewart Title, Kirby Grove. So was Darren. That is incredible. So let's tell people, as far as your location right there, Kirby Grove, and the heartbeat of all the stuff going on, how do y'all like that? And that's helping your business, I would think, that location.
I personally, I work, play, live, pray inside the Loop, and our office is inside the Loop. And it's just a great location, easy to get to, tons of business activity, some great realtors work out of the building, great title companies work out of the building. So it's a fantastic place to be.
That's right. So before we close out this segment, Craig, what are some of the other things you want people to know?
Yeah, overall, rates are fantastic, and it's definitely time to take advantage of it. If you're in a fixed rate above 4.5%, time to refinance. If you're in an adjustable rate, you might want to look at switching that to a 30-year fixed rate at this point in time. Great time if you have too much debt you want to pay off. It's a great time to take advantage of that as well. The market's booming. Houston's a great place to be. It's a great time to be here.
In fact, that bears saying again. Rates are fantastic.
Fantastic.
And they're only fantastic if you take advantage of them.
Correct.
People can do so by giving you a call, Craig Levine, right?
That's correct. 678-469-9012. I know it's a out-of-state number, but I've had the number for so long, I still have previous clients that call me and I can't change it.
That number is 678-469-9012. And again, I like the motto there on your card. It says spend life wisely, right?
That's correct.
There he is, Craig Levine, First United Mortgage Group. Thank you, Craig, for being on the show. We're going to come right back with even more. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Here we go. And now, a real live escrow officer from Stewart Title, Julie Augustin, right here. And guess what? She is in 2925 Richmond Avenue, Kirby Grove. That's right. So many of our guests are from that particular building. It's incredible, and so is she. Well, Julie, let's tell people we don't always get to talk to escrow officers, and people really don't think about the term sometimes escrow officer or escrow until they're buying or selling a house. Let's tell people a little bit about the basics and how all these things come together at a real estate transaction.
Basically, I'm I like to think of myself as the center of the universe. I have so many balls in the air. There's the real estate transaction side. We have both realtors. We have the buyer. We have the seller. We also have the lender. When there's a loan involved, there's a lender, a mortgage broker involved. Everybody has their own agendas. They have their goals, and everyone has their pieces to put together, and it all comes together at the closing table. There's a lot of work involved. There's a lot of emotions involved, but I have to be the disinterested, neutral third party that gets all the pieces put together.
Disinterested but interested
Yes.
in everybody's satisfaction,
Yes.
which is really, when you think about it, and I could see sometimes the behind the scenes, not just with you, but other escrow officers, because you want everyone to be happy, and
Yes.
that sometimes is a tall order. But I love the scene, and those of the people listening that have been in a real estate transaction, maybe there's going to be a first-time home buyer out there, but when you get to the closing table, it is a work of art. It's a fascinating experience because people want different things. I want my check from the house. The realtors want their commission. The buyers want the keys. It's fascinating. It's one of the great things in Americana today.
And that's what's very important is at the closing table, that is supposed to be the happiest part of the whole transaction.
And it is when you're at Stewart Title.
And that's I make it a point every time that there aren't any surprises. Everyone knows what's going on. They know their role in the process. And I always it's kind of like open mic night for me. I have standard stand-up comedy routines that I do during the closing, just to make sure that everyone laughs and remembers that it was a good time and it was a happy thing.
And that's right. Sometimes when we think about this, there can be tension, apprehension, because real estate transactions are of all sizes in terms of dollars, and a lot is at stake. So there can be some tension, and it's good, I'm sure, along with every now and then a little bit of comedic asides. Also, people are probably asking you questions a lot.
Yes.
Throughout there. So give us an example maybe of a question or two that you have heard a lot at various real estate transactions. What do people usually want to know, or what are they concerned about?
The most important thing is the buyer wants to know what's their monthly payment going to be, and when do they get the keys.
In fact, I remember on one of my early transactions, that's right, I look at that spot that says the monthly fee that it's going to be, and I want to know, it's not going to be more than this, is it?
Right.
They want
exactly.
assurance, right?
Yes. It's amazing. People on a mortgage transaction, the paperwork is usually an inch to an inch and a half thick. Those are the only questions that people want confirmed. What's my interest rate? What's my monthly payment? And when do I get the keys? They will sit there and for 30 minutes signing their name on signing 30 years of their life away, and those are the only questions. These are the only questions they have.
If I'm the seller, where's my check?
Exactly. Will it fund today? Can I get a wire? they want to know how immediately they can have their funds. Another common question is the sellers are usually often buying another property, and they want to make sure that we can wire the funds from Stewart Title to another Stewart office or to another title company so that it's immediate funds when they go in for their purchase.
Because people are thinking about their next move and the next part of their life. And that's the other thing, that the real estate transaction, when someone's home, it marks a chapter in their life. It ends a chapter and begins another one.
Yes, absolutely.
And I know as I work at Stewart Title, I'm honored to be part of that part. I hold that in reverence for people to be a part of that. That must be tremendous satisfaction.
It is. It's interesting. Usually the most tension that there might be regarding a closing is when a seller is selling their home. It's not a house. It's not a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's their home. And then when the buyer is coming in, of course, they're wanting to get the best possible deal. So they're ripping it to shreds of well, when was this put in and why did you paint it that color? And they're tearing it apart. So there can be, before people come to closing, there can be some friction, and that's not a problem. That's when people close separately and everyone's happy, and I'm always on everybody's side.
That's the way to be. In fact, you're talking about ripping it apart verbally sometimes,
Yes.
or in certain figures of speech.
Yes.
But sometimes they literally are we're going to knock that wall down, or we're going to do this. And sometimes the person that sold that home is like, or selling the home, oh, I like that wall, but it's not your house anymore. So many emotions take place. That's why it's fascinating.
One of the toughest closings that I did, a woman was selling her home. She had raised her kids there. She had owned the home for 40 years. Her son was helping her sell the home. She was moving into an assisted living or senior living facility, and he hadn't told her that the people that were buying it were going to tear it down and rebuild. So that was a separate closing, and that was very difficult for me because she wanted me to be sure and tell the people, which light switch ran which lights, and so I just went right along with it and never let her know that they were going to completely raise it and build a new home.
There you are, kind of like Switzerland, just staying neutral, steady
Exactly.
the whole time, keeping things, and like Switzerland in that the transaction sometimes is like a Swiss watch because so many things come together.
Yes.
From the time you get the file on a given property, what's the first things that you do? Because there are so many complexities.
Yes, first thing is we do is review the contract, make sure everything is filled in, make sure that there aren't any extraneous issues that maybe we wouldn't be able to comply with, getting the earnest money from the buyer, opening title, searching title, determining if there's any issues with the property, working with the lender on the buyer, getting them the information that they need regarding the property, and then everybody it's always kind of a moving parts, like you said, that through inspections something may come up with the property that needs to be addressed, or there may, through the mortgage process, something may come up with the buyer.
And I want to tell people, too, all escrow officers are different. The way they handle a lot of escrow officers, like real estate professionals, some have a team. And you are unique in that. And I think this is a tremendous advantage, is that you do not use an assistant. You work with each transaction yourself, so
Yes.
that if someone has a question, you never say, oh, I have to check with my assistant. You know what's going on at any point of the transaction.
Exactly. And early on, when there might be a yellow flag turning to a red flag, I know about it when it happens as opposed to the day before closing.
There you go. That's why you are on the A-plus team at
Yes.
Stewart Title. Julie Augustin, Senior Escrow Officer. Julie, I know people right now, and you're in the wonderful Kirby Grove building right there at 2925 Richmond Avenue, as so many of our guests are here today, thanks to Christina Sacco, who's right here, our Business Development Officer. In the meantime, if someone wants to close that real estate transaction at Kirby Grove with you at Stewart Fine Properties, what should they do?
They should call me at 713-625-8618.
There you go. 713-625-8618. Julie Augustin, right there. She will help you. Stewart Title. Thank you for being on the show. we go. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. We continue. And now one of the most essential things in our lives, especially real estate, is insurance. We have Brittany Taggart, John Bramlett right here with Stewart Insurance. Hey, guys, welcome to the show.
Howdy, Bill.
Hello.
And welcome back. So let's tell people, you always bring forth tremendous, very important information for people far and wide involved in real estate transactions or anything else. What have you brought for us today, Brittany?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, John and I are with Stewart Insurance, and we focus our services within the real estate realm, within the real estate industry. And as Julie just so beautifully mentioned, there are so many moving parts in a real estate transaction. There's so many different parties, and they all have their separate goals, and they're focused on those goals. Inherently, that creates a little bit of sometimes tunnel vision. You're going towards your goal, and everybody has their separate ones, so it creates risks. And we've seen a lot more risk in today's industry, where people need to now broaden their view. And so today, John and I are going to speak about how you can manage those risks that we see happening in the real estate industry today, and then how you might go about offsetting them. So I'll pass it over to John.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Brittany. If you think about it in terms of football, since football season's coming up.
Coming up, yep.
The cyber criminals, or as our agent said a couple of weeks ago, the cyber actors are very much on the offensive, that they're doing a lot of different things to affect the real estate industry. So we, as real estate professionals and insurance professionals, we need to have our own defensive game plan to offset that new offensive strategy. So that's kind of what we want to talk about. Some of the things that we're seeing right now, that the pursuit of data and funds is ever increasing. There were 11,300 U.S. victims of real estate wire fraud in 2018. And this resulted in a combined loss of $149 million. So that's not an insignificant number. The average loss of a wire fraud scheme is $130,000. So can you imagine if you were a real estate broker and your office was responsible for the loss of $130,000, or you're a title agent and your office was responsible for the loss of $130,000, that would be a significant hindrance to the success.
Yeah.
And that's the attraction for the cyber criminals, because there's really no risk in the game for them. They just keep trying, and that's the payoff.
That's right. In fact, I do want to, on that note, we want to direct people to a past show, 2 past shows. We had Cybercrime edition number 1 and 2. Number 2, we just had an FBI agent on talking about his role on the Cybercrime Task Force. Just go back to the archives, but yeah, so many things to be aware of now.
Absolutely. So from a defensive perspective, there are really kind of 4 things that we want to look at. One is education. The second, do you have a proper IT infrastructure? Third, have you established and are you enforcing processes and procedures? And then finally, insurance. So the first 3 are ways that you can mitigate that risk and minimize the chance of that happening. The insurance is a way that you offset it if it does happen.
In insurance policies, we've talked about it on that previous show, but part of the solution is having good practices in place, but also having insurance now for these things that can happen in the risk we're talking about with cybercrime. And you guys at Stewart Insurance can help people with that.
Absolutely. So it's important to understand, to be educated, to understand what those threats are, to understand how the cyber criminals are reaching in and affecting your business. It's important to have the proper, IT infrastructure. Is your IT infrastructure pushing them away, or is it opening the door and allowing them to come in? So it's important to know that. Do you have the proper processes and procedures? Are you enforcing them? Are you verifying? Are you confirming the information, and you're doing it in a way that ensures that there's not a chance that you're going to be phished? And then finally, do you have the right insurance? We're seeing that more and more of the insurance companies are establishing some guidelines that their clients, have to install and enforce in order to have coverage and to receive coverage. So it's important that you understand that as well, and you're working with an insurance advisor to make sure that you are properly covered.
That sounds good. Brittany, what do you think?
Yeah, so a little bit on that last note, the industry does have to take more
focus and care and just the processes that maybe we were focused on, just our goals and getting through achieving just those goals. Again, we have to be a little bit broader. The insurance companies are now requiring it. So as John mentioned, just to be able to secure insurance, we have to put certain measures in place, but we should want to do that anyways. We want to be able to manage the risk. If you think about it from a homeowner's point of view, you can do routine home maintenance and you can try to manage your risk from that aspect, but you still have your home insurance in case a disaster does strike and you have you're able to offset that loss. Same exact mindset when it comes to the real estate industry and all of our players in the real estate industry, our real estate brokers, our mortgage bankers, our independent title agents. They all have to have the insurance in place in case these certain measures, being educated, having processes and procedures, having great IT infrastructure. You want to be able to manage that and mitigate the risk, but these losses are occurring every single day, and you have to have the right insurance.
So maybe this is an example. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as having cybercrime insurance or protection from Stewart Insurance, it would be kind of like if someone has a pool in their home for their homeowner's insurance. There are guidelines that say to have a pool, you have to have a gate, right?
Exactly.
So it's kind of, am I tracking?
Yes,
Yay.
That's a good one.
How about
That's exactly
that?
what it is.
Wow. So
good
it's like
metaphor.
everything like that. So there's just things we have to do, like we need more stuff to do in life. But this is the future. The future's now, and these are the threats that are out there, and people are trying to outsmart the system all the time with their laptops and technology.
Absolutely. And we've heard how all technology, I think the last three guests, we've said how great this market is, how great technology is. And we're not meaning to bring that down. It is great, and it's going to help us operate more productively and efficiently and get where we want to go faster. But we do have to take some extra measures, and there are going to be some inherent risks that come along as we evolve in society and in this industry. So we just have to continue to be aware and continue to take those measures and continue to have conversations with your insurance agent to be able to offset those risks.
So if people want to reach out to you to talk to you about this kind of protection, what should they do?
There's a couple of ways. They can visit us at stewartinsurance.com, or they can call us at 866-798-2827.
One more time.
866-798-2827, or visit us at stewartinsurance.com.
Well, I love that number, too. So let's help you. Before we close this segment, what else should we know? You're also giving classes to real estate professionals out there. They can reach you at the same number for that, right?
Absolutely. So our classes, I guess the one in particular that resonates with this topic is our real estate liability course. It is 3 hours long. It's very important. We go through different scenarios and specifically how real estate brokers and real estate agents can manage their risks, and then what insurance they need to consider to have in place to offset those risks.
Who doesn't want that class? It should be filled all the time. In fact, you can do it on location, too, at their office.
Absolutely. We welcome it. Christina actually has set one up already. In September, we have one coming up. So we're excited to have those opportunities to be in front and be able to educate the industry and mitigate these risks.
There you go. That number again, John?
It's 866-798-2827.
And before we close out, that's a lot right there.
That is a lot right there.
And we're going to come right back with even more. Thank you guys for being on the show.
Thanks,
and for
Bill.
that great info. And as we wind things up, here she is, Cindy Pham with Asset Preservation Incorporated. Yes, the 1031 expert. Hey, Cindy, welcome back.
Thank you.
So before we close out, we're going to tell people how they can reach out to you again, but also a parting thought. What else should we know?
If you want to do a 1031 exchange, you have to do it before you close. If you close on the property, it's too late. If
Good
you
word.
are closing tomorrow, today, you just need to call me right now.
Give her a call.
And my toll-free number is 833-331-1031.
833-331-1031. A little bit of planning is important. That's how we maximize all our transaction, right?
But we are great at service. If you've got one today or tomorrow, we're rushing it, I can get it done for you. So
Cindy
it's all
Pham.
about service, too.
That sounds great. 833-331-1031. She is Cindy Pham. And now he's back, Darren Morris with Compass. Hey, Darren, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Before we close things out, fascinating to speak with you earlier about all the activity right there in the inner loop. But what else should we know before we close out this incredible show?
Look, buying or selling real estate is probably the number one most expensive transaction you're ever going to do in your entire life. And so I was fortunate last year to help 34 families move around and get settled. There's a lot that goes on in the background, and I'm getting pretty good at it. I've got a good team behind me, and I can refer movers, I can refer painters, I can refer everybody these days, and so I'm
Title
very happy to
companies
help
even?
about that. And Compass helps out too.
There you go. So people, if they want to reach out to Darren Morris with Compass, what should they do?
281-788-2402. You can even text me.
He is right there at 281-788-2402. Darren Morris, now Craig Levine, First United. Hey, Craig, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
There you go. Renovation loans, all kinds of loans right there. How can people reach out to you, Craig?
Yeah, phone number 678-469-9012, or check out my website at craiglevineteam.com, CraigLevinteam.com.
And a final thought?
Rates are great. Take advantage of it. Savings is the same thing as earnings. So money in your pocket is money in your pocket.
It's that easy. Thank you so much for being on the show. And now, I mentioned Christina Sacco, one of our top BDOs, business development officers at Stewart Title. She is right there in the Kirby Grove building, helping people every day. Christina, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm glad that Darren, Craig, and Julie were here to join us. So we're here for all of your needs, and just happy to help in any way.
And of course, people may not think of the idea of business development officer, but that means that you are a resource to real estate professionals far and wide, helping people every day. If they want to reach out to you, certainly they can Google Christina Sacco, Sacco, 2 syllables, two C's. What more do you want, right? But let's tell people your number.
713-325-1748.
There you are, Christina Sacco and Julie Augustin right here, Stewart Title. Julie, how can people reach out to you? I know they want to close with you.
Absolutely. 713-625-8618.
And thank you all so much for being on the show today, and all of you listening out there far and wide. I want to tell you, we have some great things coming up. Yeah, this show was super awesome. I know you know that, but in the meantime, we have some other on locations. We're going to the Woodlands coming up. We are even going to be at one of the top real estate professional new broker offices. I'm going to keep that a secret, but it's coming up. We will be right there on location right here in Houston at a new location, high-rise, super views, so many great things, so many great guests. Thank you for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Napick. Don't be sad that the show's ending at the time of broadcast, because it never really ends. You can go to stewart.com/Houston. That's right, stewart.com/Houston, and we'll see you next week. And until then...